So we've gotten the world between worlds in live action in the recent episode 4 of Ahsoka, and it leaves a lot of fans wondering, what is this place? What's going on? Why should we care? Is Ahsoka dead? So many questions that are brought to the forefront because of this, and many don't have the background of what is from Rebels. So in this video, I'm going to break down what Dave Filoni says about the world between worlds, and make sure you stick all the way to the end where I'm going to tie it back in, and we're going to think about what does this have to do with the next episode of Ahsoka.
Force will be with you always.
The world between worlds, then, it's not about time travel. It's really not about time travel at all. It's just about a place where everything comes together.
So it's not time travel. I think this is one of the most important things to understand, that when we're talking about the world between worlds, this isn't just a chance to go back in time and do anything you want to change whatever might want to be changed, so on and so forth. Listen to how he describes it.
And you hear different things echoing throughout time.
This is our most desperate hour.
Because it's all fluid in that moment, in that place. It's not this material thing that's linear. Everything is occurring all the time. And Ezra is more in tune with the things that are directly related to him, like when he was on Malachor and saw Ahsoka, like when he saw Kanan die. These things reverberate to him and he understands them more. The other voices he doesn't even understand. He doesn't know those people.
The things that have gone on in Ezra's life, or in the person's life who's in the world between worlds, is what they see. He sees Kanan, he sees Ahsoka and Vader fighting, and he's walking through here through these echoes of history, and it's really about knowledge, not about time travel. So this place is not a place of going between portal to portal, place to place, go fix whatever needs fixed. But instead, it's really just all time and space here in the world between worlds. It's not linear. It's all mixed together. And there's a mystery to it all. And Dave likes it that way.
Hello? Master Yoda? Obi-Wan?
They're just like the wind moving. And
you see how where Ezra's walking, you see each little step. We saw the same thing in episode 4, except it was blue and colorful. Here it's just this black and white void. So I actually like how they've brought the world between worlds into live action. I think it looks really good. It feels really interesting. And if they had just done this black and white lines, I don't think it would have looked as good. It would have looked kind of cartoony as opposed to what was in live action. I found really well done.
He recognizes some like Obi-Wan and Yoda, but he doesn't understand the context of anything that's going on. I don't know how real it actually is.
I don't know how real it actually is. That is a very interesting statement. When we start thinking about what has happened with Ahsoka, what has happened here now in episode 4, where she's fallen and she either is in the water or washed up on the shore or something, unconscious maybe. Does that statement even leave room for possibility that this is just in Ezra's head? That this is just in Ahsoka's head and it's the Force kind of talking to them and through them and bringing all of time back together in these visions? It's possible.
I don't want to define that for people anyway, but it's not this place of gateways and doorways that you just go in and out of. Now, Ezra can pull Ahsoka into that world.
This is where it gets interesting. Ezra in Rebels was able to pull Ahsoka from her fight with Vader into the world between worlds, essentially saving her. So if this isn't time travel and you can't go into these different places, how can you interact with these spaces and not have an impact in time? Well, one way to say that is we're seeing this, what has happened, we've already seen, and now we're seeing it from Ezra's perspective of what happened, behind the scenes of what we've already seen.
But remember, she's smart enough to know that she can't leave that world through his door. She'll be destroying the natural balance and order of things. She has to go back from where she came. It's the same with Kanan.
I can reach him.
Ezra. Kanan gave his life so that you could live.
When you understand that, if he pulls him out of that world, he's got to put him back in a world where everybody's dead. And then you know that, wait, Ezra couldn't have even been in that world then. And so everything will break.
See, even to save Kanan, Kanan gave his life. If you don't know this, if you're not watch Rebels, Kanan sacrificed his life to save the Ghost Crew, to save Hera, to save Ezra, to save everyone. And so, if Ezra saves Kanan, Ezra himself could not even live in that world. This is the problem of time travel and why Dave is very hesitant to say this is time travel. But you still can interact with the world if you wanted to, but it's going to break everything, could even end your own existence. So I think these are some of the issues we see in other places with time travel. This isn't a multiverse. This is a place where all time is viewable. So what does that mean for episode 5 of Ahsoka?
And it will cause chaos. It will cause destruction. So it's not this system of doorways, like you're on an elevator, getting off on different floors in different times. It's more like what the wolf tells Ezra. It's more about knowledge. Knowledge that you can use for your benefit of good, or knowledge that will lead to destruction. That's what it's about. But it's not my intention that it be this ability to walk through into somebody else's world. We have to keep being dedicated to being original and creative, and sometimes we take chances, and sometimes we do weird things like create Bendu or,
That's a whole nother conversation.
mysterious wolves. But I think as long as you work off the principles of the Force that George set up.
We see the son, the daughter, and the father here in this shot in the world between worlds. And this is partly what has led to some of my thoughts that Anakin isn't really Anakin. I've shared that on a previous video. But again, when we're looking at the world between worlds, there's more going on here. And so what does that mean
Of the Force that
for
George set up.
the rest of Ahsoka?
It doesn't change
Stay
it.
tuned. We're going to talk about that.
And you don't erode what makes Star Wars special.
So that's Dave Filoni talking about the world between worlds, saying it's not just about time travel. It's for knowledge, whether it's good knowledge to do good or knowledge that leads to destruction. So I think it's very dependent upon the person who is in the world between worlds. How is it they will use that knowledge? Will they destroy what is or use it for good? What then is going to happen in episode 5? Well, if that is Anakin, which I have doubts that it is, it feels like this is going to be maybe similar to what has already happened with Ezra, where Anakin was able to pull Ahsoka into the world between worlds, and now going to take Ahsoka through, in some ways, what is Anakin's memories and what resonates greatest with Anakin. So this is where we could get a flashback to a Clone Wars type time where we could see Captain Rex and Ahsoka and Anakin all talking in some way. It could bring them, we could relive Ahsoka leaving the Jedi Order. I think that could be interesting to see in live action. Dean and I on the live stream the other night talked about how he doesn't think that it's just going to be these vignettes and visuals that they watch, but it has to be them interacting, which brings up the question, is there going to be something that Ahsoka interacts with in the world between worlds, even though it might have repercussions in other ways? I wonder. I think Dave is really cautious about that. You hear that in his voice in talking about the problems of Ezra interacting with Kanan and trying to save Kanan. So I don't see it as Ahsoka or Ahsoka wanting to, and then maybe Anakin stopping her and making her have to not go forward with that. I don't know. I'm hoping it's more than just looking at these different things through the lens of the world between worlds. I actually believe this is going to be a way that Ahsoka in some way might change what just happened in the previous episode. I don't know. Maybe something like that, where she goes and makes sure she doesn't lose to Baylan. Maybe that's a little too nuts. But either way, we're not quite sure how Ahsoka got to the world between worlds. And we're not quite sure what the purpose of her being there is, other than this interaction and vision with Anakin. Let me know your theories down below. Why is Ahsoka in the world between worlds? Is she actually dead? Is that what's going on here? Does she have to go back to save herself in some way? Or is there some other kind of process? Is this her way to get to the other galaxy where Thrawn and Ezra and now Sabine, is that what's going to happen? Let me know down in the comments below. Would love to hear your thoughts. Remember, the Force will be with you always.